Paul say in 1 Timothy 4:1, the Spirit clearly says that in later times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. But
Yes.
John says in 1 John 2:19, they went out from us, but they did not really belong to us. For if they had belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going showed that none of them belonged to us. Are these two verses contradictory? Is Paul saying that we can be deceived into following demons after accepting salvation, while John saying those who never started out as believers can fall away? A big question.
Yeah, very nice question. Good question, Sandeep. And basically, it again comes down to the doctrine of perseverance of the saints, or the doctrine of eternal security, or once saved, forever saved. That's the question that he's trying to ask. Where here in our current study text, it says there is a possibility of falling away. And in 1 John, the idea is that they cannot fall away. Now, again, contextually, I think we have to park 1 John and 1 Timothy very differently. Okay, we are speaking about different churches, we are speaking about different audience, and in this church, this is Paul's observation. Okay, and he's referring to a prophecy where the Spirit of God says that in the last days people will be deceived, and the word used is people that were once in the faith. Okay, whereas 1 John speaks of another perhaps group of people that to start with were not part of a truly saved Christian group, which John addresses. Maybe when we come to that, I'll be in a better position to answer that. But I'd like to appeal to this quote again. The perseverance of the Savior is the big point that we need to hold on to, Sandeep. The perseverance of the saints is rather a misnomer at best. And so is there a kind of a mystery about this dynamic, or will God sovereignly somehow see to it that I will never fall away? God will, from his side, definitely not lose someone that he intended to save or that he saved. But there is also this dynamic of God's sovereignty and human responsibility that has to be held in tension. Now, you cannot say, oh, God saved me, okay, and now I will test the waters and I will live recklessly and I will try to do and run away from God's love as much as possible. Let me see if God is continuing to be sovereign in spite of my irresponsibility. Now, that's where I think we need to hold these two in tension. God's sovereignty is very true. And again, human responsibility also is something that is very, very important, that keeps coming again and again. In Paul's teaching itself, he says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. In by doing so, here he says today that you will save yourself and those that hear you. So these are all ideas of progressive sanctification that we need to be yielded to, and we cannot somehow throw all the weight on God and say, I'm totally, absolved of any human responsibility. Let's try to hold these two intentions. And for the most part, Christian life, we have to hold many things in tension. And there has to be some amount of unsettledness. Of course, if you're anxious about losing salvation all the time and paranoid and all of that, that's a different thing. You have to rest in the comfort of God's sovereignty when you're doing your responsibility. But if you're totally complacent and resting slackly in God's sovereignty, not at all, thinking or doing your part of the responsibility, that's again troublesome. Okay, so let's. I think the balance is somewhere in the center, and we need to hold them two together.